Hey kids, how we doing? So sorry you guys can't be on campus for this year's Bring Your Child to Work Day. This is something I normally look forward to doing every year. Right now nobody's down at Willard Street where I normally work. This year I'm up here at North Star at Appel Commons. Today we're going to make some pizzas, we're going to make some pizza dough, and take a look at the facility. So come on in, let's make some pizzas together. Hey folks, how are we doing? We're in the bakery here at North Star at Appel Commons. We're about to go make some dough, but first I need to wash my hands. I have a hand washing sink here, and the way I like to wash my hands before I prepare any food, whether at home or in here at North Star, you get some soap, and I like to sing happy birthday to myself. Happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to me. You can use your elbows to turn the water off like a doctor ready for surgery. Let's go make some pizza dough. This is going to be a real super simple recipe. What I have here is some yeast, some sugar, warm water, not hot water, not room temperature, just slightly warm. We want our water to be about 90 to 110 degrees. Anything hotter than that, we're going to kill the yeast and our dough won't rise. Anything colder and the yeast won't wake up. So yeast, if you didn't know, is actually a fungus. It's alive. So this yeast is practically freeze-dried, so it's inactive. It's not really doing much of anything. Now we're going to get this yeast activated. The way we're going to get this yeast activated is we're going to use warm water. Now this water is about 100 degrees. If I feel with my finger, it feels warm. It's not hot, it's not scalding, just warm. So we're going to add the water in. We're going to pour our yeast in. This is 7 grams of yeast. That's about a single packet. If you bought a little packet of yeast at the grocery store, typically it's about 7 grams. We're going to add that to our warm water. And then we're going to add a half a tablespoon of sugar. The sugar is what the yeast loves to eat. So we're going to add the sugar in. So what we've created in this bowl is an environment the yeast likes, and we gave it some food to eat. Now I'm going to take my whisk and I'm going to whip it up a little bit and just get it all mixed up. Mix, 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 mix. Okay, now that yeast should be real happy. I'm going to cover the bowl and we're going to let this sit for a couple of minutes and let that yeast eat the sugar, and then it farts out little carbon dioxide bubbles, and it's going to make little fart bubbles in there. And that's what's actually going to make the pizza dough rise, is that yeast farts. So let's go over here and we're going to make some garlic oil. Okay, so we got our pan on. To make garlic oil, what we're going to do is we're going to add some extra virgin olive oil. Thank you, sir. We're going to get that oil in there and get it warmed up. The way we make garlic oil is we bring the temperature of the oil up, but we don't want to get it too ripping hot. We definitely don't want to smoke it. I don't want to burn the garlic either, because that gives off a really bad flavor when you burn it. Now this is one of the few times where I can add a product into a pan before it's hot, and we're going to let it slowly come up to temp. When the garlic starts to bubble, I can turn the heat off, and then just let the oil and the garlic all get nice and happy, and the garlic flavor infuses into the oil. Okay, so we'll give that a moment. Come on, let's go check out our yeast and see if it's making bubbles yet. Oh, starting to see some bubbles. All right, we'll give her another minute. So our garlic is now simmering. You can see it's just bubbling a little bit in there. We're not really sauteing it. We're just kind of heating it through. And cooking that garlic a little bit. We don't want to brown it off or anything. We just want to get that flavor all up in that oil. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off now. Remove this, and we're going to set it right here for a little bit. We're going to get back to that garlic oil. We're going to make a pizza with a base of garlic oil, otherwise known as a white pizza. I think that pizza we're going to go with some tomato and basil. It sounds really yummy. We're also going to be making just a regular plain old cheese pizza. And also a barbecue chicken pizza is one of my personal favorites. So let's go check our yeast out, and then we'll probably make some dough. All right, let's see here. Oh yeah, see how our yeast is growing? It's getting kind of like, looks like oatmeal almost in there, right? So, we have our yeast and our water and our sugar. I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 cups of flour. So, this is a ½ cup scoop. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't like to pack my flour down in the cups. Just lightly in there, right to the top of the lid. I'll give it a little shake, and that's a perfectly measured amount. There we go, 4 cups. So, right into that water. And this is the fun part. This is where you get to get your hands right in it. And start moving it around and stirring it. As you can see, it's all coming together. And I'm just gonna keep working it around, mixing it up, pressing it up against the side of the bowl. Now, if your dough is a little too wet and it's sticking to everything, you can add more flour. You just give it a little sprinkle. And you can do it the other way too. If you don't feel like you have enough, or if it's too dry, you can add some more water, you can add some more flour, whatever it is, and make your dough ball perfect. See, my dough is just a little sticky, so I'm going to add just a little bit of flour. That'll stop it from being so sticky. What we need to do now is we need to stretch those glutens out. So we're going to take a little bit of flour, put it on our cutting board here. And I'm going to coat this dough ball with a little bit of flour so it doesn't stick to my hand so much. Now, here's the fun part too. We're going to continuously stretch the dough into itself. So fold it, push it together. Fold it, push it together, and you're going to keep doing this over and over and over again. You're still a little sticky, so I'm going to roll it in the flour again. When we get to a point, put it down, and you poke it, and it springs right back again. See how it just comes right back at me? That ball wants to stay a ball. So, I think we're just about ready here. I'm going to take a little bit of flour, put it in the bottom of a bowl, put the pizza dough right in there. This is a nice time. A little olive oil, brush it over the top. That way the ball doesn't dry out, because we're going to let this sit probably a good ½ hour out on the countertop at room temperature, and this ball is going to grow. It's probably going to grow about 50%. It's going to poof up a little bit. Remember, carbon dioxide farts. You can plastic wrap this too and stick it in your fridge, but it's going to take a little longer to grow. Maybe even a whole day in your fridge would be fine the next day. So this is dough that was made yesterday, sat in the cooler overnight, and I pulled it out about an hour ago, and that yeast is really working in there, and these are growing up big. Let's come over here and I'll show you how to stretch a pizza. Okay, I'm gonna get a piece of dough out of this box, but what I'm gonna use to do that with is this is called a dough knife. The dough knife isn't very sharp, but it's got a really funky handle on it. This helps me scrape the dough off the bottom of the box and kind of keep it round. Sprinkle a little flour on top so it doesn't stick to my hands. Okay, now I like to use my fingertips in the middle of the dough. That's going to kind of pop all those air bubbles on the inside. I don't mind if there's some air bubbles on the outside because that's what makes the crust bubble up. Now I'm going to go ahead and press my fingers in. You see how it's kind of popping those bubbles. Look at those bubbles. Then what I can do is I can go around the outside and kind of press my fingers in. We're going to make a nice crust. I like a big chewy crust on my pizzas. Okay, so that's the start, but that's not big enough. If I was to bake it like this, it would probably come out like a loaf of bread. We're going to stretch this dough out. I'm going to pick it up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch the outside, not the middle. Turn it, and then stretch the outside. And stretch the ends. Just a couple inches, a little bit at a time. If you try to stretch it too much all at once, it'll just tear a hole. But that's okay if you get a hole in your dough because you can just press it back together. That's not a big deal. Nobody sees the bottom of the pizza. Okay, let's check our size out and see how we're looking. Not too bad. That's getting bigger. Look at that pan. That's a 16-inch pan. You got a little ways to go. Time. Yeah. So the dough really wants to keep shrinking in. By letting the dough sit out, that's what's going to actually let it warm up and be a little bit more malleable. I'm going to get my pizza ladle ready. I'm going to sprinkle. This is cornmeal. You can use semolina flour. Semolina flour is very similar to cornmeal in that it's like little rocks, little balls. That helps the pizza slide around on the peel. It'll help it slide around in the oven and not stick to anything. So, put the peel right there for now. Give it one last stretch, get us that last little bit. And we're gonna put it right on this pizza peel. Perfect. So that dough goes all the way across the pizza peel. I know I got the size dough I need. This is just going to be a cheese pizza. Everyone likes cheese pizza. The way I like to put my sauce on a pizza, I just dump it right in the middle. You don't have to go heavy. You can always add more, but it's real hard to take sauce off a dough that you already put on there. Then I start in the middle, and I start making little circles. And I slowly make the circles bigger and bigger and bigger until I'm about all the way to the edge of my pizza. Now you should be able to see a little dough underneath. This pizza's all about proportions. So we got our sauce. Tomato sauce base, and now I'm going to put the cheese on. What I like to do with my cheeses, I like to hug the outside of the pizza. Try not to dump it in the middle. The cheese is going to want to migrate to the middle while it cooks. So if you start in the middle, it'll stay in the middle. But if you start on the outside, it'll slowly work its way to the middle in the oven. Okay, now I think we're ready to go in the oven. You can put whatever you want on top of this pizza. You can put your pepperoni. We have sausage, all sorts of items, anything you like. Then we put zucchini on there. I put pulled pork on pizzas before. Shoot, I put French fries on a pizza one time. Let's go ahead and stick this in the oven. You give it a little wiggle. See it wiggling on the paddle, and then I just pull the paddle right out. And we'll let that cook. Now our oven's set at about 574 degrees. That is pretty hot. If you're making pizzas at home, your oven can be set around 475. We just took a look. Let's take a peek at our dough. Look at that. Now that is already growing up. We've only left it about 5 minutes. We'll give it a few more minutes though and see how it progresses. The only reason we oil the top though is to make sure it doesn't dry out. If dough wants to dry out, remember it's only water in there, and you'll start to get a crust on top of the pizza. You don't want that. That makes it really hard to stretch. So we'll let that go. All right, our pizza's coming along. If you see, our crust is really starting to look nice. It's poofing up. I'm gonna slide my paddle underneath, and what I like to do in these types of ovens is keep an eye on the bottom. We're still not that dark yet. And give it a turn. You see, we're starting to get a little brown here because that was closer to the flame. You stick that right back in the oven right there. All right, so pizza's starting to look nice and brown. Look at that color right there. That's beautiful. Let's take a look at the bottom. Oh, the bottom's looking crispy too. I think this pizza's got about 30 more seconds. We'll give that pizza 30 more seconds, get that other side top browned up nice. All right, let's go ahead. Let's pull this pizza out. I think we're ready. I'm gonna put it right on the pizza tray. There we have it, one cheese pizza, looking nice. So I really want to cut this pizza right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait a little bit. If I cut the pizza right now, all that cheese is so molten that it'll all start to stick together immediately, and then you can't get your pieces pulled apart. So what I like to do is give my pizza a couple of moments. While we give our pizza a couple of moments, we'll go ahead and start our next pizza. So same as before, push out my crust. And I dip my fingers in, pop all those bubbles. Pop, 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 pop. Okay, let's bring her over here. So this pizza is going to be a white pizza. They call it a white pizza because it doesn't have any tomato sauce on there. Now I'm sure we all remember this. We made this a few minutes ago. This is the garlic oil. I just like to take a brush and smear it on there. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. You'll taste it. All the way to the edges. Now this one, what I'll do is I'll smear a little bit even on the crust. That'll help our crust become golden. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of cheese on. Not a lot. About half of what I want to put on at the end, or total. Just a little bit. Now remember, we try to hug the outside of the pizza. And now I'm going to put some tomatoes on. We'll put 2 over here. All right. I try to make it whatever I put on my pizza, that there's always going to be a little bit on every slice. Now that I got my tomatoes on, I'm going to go ahead and add the second half of my cheese. This right here is a seasoning we make up here. This is going to be oregano, basil, salt, and a little crushed red pepper. Not too much because we don't want it too spicy. Now the higher you sprinkle it down, the more even you get it across the pizza. Alright, beautiful. Alright, let's get this pizza in the oven and we'll cut our cheese pizza. I got my pizza cutting wheel. Right in half. And then 90 degrees, cut her in half again. And I cut those 4 quarters into halves. Okay. And that is how you make a cheese pizza from scratch. Nice brown bottom. Alright, one more pizza we're going to make today. This one's going to be a barbecue chicken pizza. Pull the dough out, flour. Now this time, instead of tomato sauce, we're going to put down barbecue sauce. I love barbecue sauce. It is so delicious. Pour that right in the middle, same way we did our tomato sauce. So this pizza, I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I'm going to put half my cheese on now and half after I put the toppings on. So, hugging the outside, spread my cheese along. Now you don't always have to use mozzarella cheese. You can use pepper jack cheese, cheddar cheese. I put American cheese. Now I got some chicken. We're going to put some chicken on there. I like red onions with my barbecue sauce. Those flavors really seem to work for me. A little bit of red onions. Ooh, barely. All right. There's our white garlic pizza. Nice and brown on that side, but this other side needs a little bit of help still, so we're going to turn it. Stick it right back in there. So this is one of our smaller ovens. We can only fit about 2 pizzas in this oven. Right now though, we have a new building going up on campus. We have 2 ginormous ovens. They're so big, I can fit 5 pizzas in one oven. That means I could be cooking 10 pizzas all at once. And the floor of the oven spins. So you're gonna put the pizza in and the pizza goes for a trip around the inside of the oven. By the time it comes back to the door, it's perfectly cooked and I don't have to spin the pizzas manually. This is going to be so cool, these new ovens. I can't wait to play with them. All right, I think our white pizza is ready to come out. Oh, buddy. Does not look delicious or what? And we're not even done yet. I was keeping it a secret. What? I like to put a little basil right on that pizza. Now I put the basil in on the end because if I bake the pizza with the basil on it, the basil will shrivel up and turn brown. So we like to keep it nice and fresh. And this pizza, really nice. Just a little bit of a drizzle of olive oil. And there you have it. White pizza with basil and tomato. Good. All right. One barbecue chicken pizza. Oh my goodness. Boy, cutting it even sounds nice. You hear the crunch. I wish you could smell this pizza. It smells so good. Well, anyways, that's all we did today. We made dough, we made pizzas. We talked about what goes on here at Cornell and some of the projects. Right now, North Star is getting ready to be emptied out. We're gonna remodel this. Actually, the whole bakery is gonna go away. That's gonna be moving into NCRE. Willard Straight's gonna get remodeled. The Ivy Room is gonna become just more Oaken Shields. All you care to eat pizza. Unreal. I can't wait. It's super exciting. Thank you so much for joining me. I had so much fun doing this. This is something I look forward to every year. Thank you so much. And hopefully I get to see you next year. Bye.